Well, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Happy New Year and welcome to the very first video of 2014. Sorry I couldn't make any videos 2-3 days ago because I was just really busy with my other work. So today we're going to be actually doing our sixth lord in the third house. And what happens when the planet that controls your sixth house in your horoscope is sitting in the third house. Okay, and obviously if you do not know where your sixth lord is placed, what planet is controlling that, including all the other lords through houses, for that check out the links here so you can get the full astrological report, including my book Astrology, Conjunction and Aspects at the Speed of Flight, including your numerology report. So sixth lord in the third house. Well, first of all, what is the sixth lord? What does sixth house represents? Sixth house represents obstacles, enemies, diseases, everyday work life, your routine work, non-profit organizations, small animals like your pets, cats and dogs. It represents your competition at workplace. And when this planet is sitting in the third house, that's what we're talking about. And third house is about communication, using your intelligence, hobbies, your skills, using your skills for work, your effort, your strength, your willpower. Third house is short distance traveling. So it represents many things. It represents media. It represents, journalism. So what happens when sixth lord is in the third house? So sixth lord being in the third house, what shows is that your ability to, fight your enemies, your ability to, clear obstacles, your ability to help the ones who are unprivileged happens through your communication. Happens through your ability to communicate with other people, happens through your own effort. Sixth house and third house are kind of similar because third house is strength, willpower. Sixth house is the fighting ground. Sixth house is where you go to war. And what this shows is that somebody has a lot of strength to fight. Somebody has a lot of strength to take care of their enemies and their opponents. So usually, yes, you can say this is a great combination with somebody who's an athlete, somebody who uses their hands to win things, somebody who uses their hands to go to work. Because sixth house is your artha house. It's where you're dealing with your everyday work people. So again, it could be boxer, fighter, cricketer, basketball player, tennis player, where you're using your hands, your body, your effort, your skills, to defeat your enemies. But because third house is also the house of communication and writing and journalism, you communicate about the things that are related to the sixth house. You are a communicator of diseases and how to heal things. You're a communicator of non-profit organization. You're able to solve conflicts, which is sixth house, through your speech, through your communication, through your writing skills. These people may even be a journalist, whether writer or news anchors who go out in war zones and they communicate about what's happening in this war in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Iran, wherever, because they're putting their life at risk. They're putting their their effort, their self-esteem into going into the heart of the war and communicating about that, so people can hear about it, so people can see what's happening, and they can actually help in the war. So it becomes a very important combination, and especially now the sixth lord is 10th from the sixth house, meaning it's becoming karma of the sixth house. So for these people, it actually becomes their duty to communicate about things related to the sixth house. These people they put a lot of effort into taking care of small animals. They put a lot of effort into healing animals and dogs and cats, and they will work at a shelter. They will nurture them by their hands, and they will communicate to people. They will talk to people about it, that hey, save animals, save these stray dogs, save these abused animals. So all of this communication comes into play. And in your everyday work life, your everyday routine will involve your siblings as well. Because of the fact third house is siblings, especially younger siblings. So your work may be involving working with your co-borns. You might be in a business with your co-borns. However, depending upon what planet is controlling the sixth house, situations may change. including situations with your siblings. So let's discuss, how each planet is doing in this scenario. So back to the same location, because the guy was sweeping the streets and the noise would have just killed this whole video. So back to this light. I like the lighting here. So anyway, what happens when certain planets are controlling the sixth house and goes into the third house, and we're going to discuss the actual planets. So let's say if Sun is controlling your sixth house and Sun goes into the third house. What this shows is that your personality, your self-esteem really comes from when you're interacting with your siblings, and when you're interacting with people related to your close neighbors and your close siblings, and you are actually fighting with them. You're actually doing something with them. And that's where your personality shines. Your personality also shines when you take an authoritative position with your siblings on an issue related to the sixth house, on an issue related to, service, government service. You may be traveling for government service, meaning that if you're working in a government, you may be doing a lot of traveling, short distance travel. It could be local government, federal government, and it also shows that your father had made you work a lot, made you do hard work in your young age, and because of that, you have a lot of work ethics. Like your father instills a lot of work ethics in you because of the fact it's 10th from itself, meaning your father is now becoming the energy of work of the sixth house. He tells you to take care of the people who are unprivileged. He tells you to take care of small animals. Don't hurt other people. Fight for your righteousness. And so that's where your personality rises. Let's say if Moon is controlling your sixth house, goes into the third house, shows that your emotional balance comes from fighting for the people who are unprivileged. Your emotional stability comes from when you are ability to, think about how to solve other people's conflicts and problems. And here it shows that your mother was a fighter. Your mother was, this person who would go out and just put a lot of effort into raising you, a lot of effort into, taking care of things. And your peace of mind comes in when you're traveling and when you are, dealing with your siblings on an emotional level regarding, how to cure other people, how to solve other people's conflicts. How do we strategize to take care of our competition? Like these people are very competitive with Moon. Like they're always strategizing in their mind how to, defeat the enemy. So great athletes, fighters, soldiers, policemen can be seen from this placement. So Venus controls your sixth house and Venus goes into the third house. What this shows is that your interaction with female will happen a lot in your workplace, especially when you're traveling. You will meet your wife when you're doing short distance travel, and you love forming relationships with people who are doing the same work as you, which is probably to help animals, which is probably to, help non-profit organization. Perhaps you're fighting for a cause regarding women. It also shows that you have great interest in media and acting, art history, your skills of, artistic skills become your everyday routine in life. Your everyday routine in life, which is sixth house, now it's becoming creative and full of creative endeavors. So it's a very strong placement to somebody who can go into media business as well. It can also represent somebody who could be a designer, somebody who could be in manufacturing of women clothing, manufacturing of, accessories of jewelry and, things of that nature, because it's becoming your everyday life. Let's say if Mercury controls your sixth house, goes into the third house. It shows somebody who uses their communication skills, somebody who uses their speech to address the issues of the sixth house. These people can be medical writers. These can be people writers of, writing about the government, their local government, writing about the non-profit organization, what's happening, in third world countries, what's happening with people who are suffering. They become great communicators of that. And especially regarding diseases, they are a very good communicator because of the fact Mercury has the intelligence to understand what's happening in the sixth house. They understand diseases. They understand how to cure things, because Mercury originally can rule the sixth house of Virgo, which is all about health and healing. So Mercury can become a great, writer of that and communicator of that. Here, Mercury can also become a martial artist, especially if the Mars has aspect on it. Mercury loves using its hands. So great martial artist, great writer, great, skills of mechanic skills and, great skills of even especially writing can become a very strong thing here, where their everyday routine is about writing blogs, writing books, writing novels. Like I write books, and Dan Brown, he can be writing books. So it can become communication of conflicts, solving conflicts. If you become a writer, if you become a somebody who is writing fictional novels, you would wanna your novels will always portray about solving conflicts, solving some sort of a disagreement in there. They make great lawyers because sixth house represents conflicts. When Mercury controls that, it shows that with your speech you're able to solve conflicts, especially in this condition, because here Mercury becomes a great lawyer, great communicator. You become great salesmen with this position as well. And these people have great mimicking skills, like comedians. Comedians can have this placement. Somebody who just uses their everyday, mimicking skills and comedian skills to make a living. Okay, so let's say if Mars controls your Mars controls your sixth house, goes into the third house, definitely shows somebody who can be a great fighter, a great soldier, somebody who can be a great athlete, somebody who can defeat their competition not only through communication but by their bare hands. So again, fighting and doing a lot of athletic work is seen from this. Somebody who can be in civil engineering as well, who's using their intelligence, but at the same time using their engineering skills, using their mechanical and technical skills to solve issues and solve problems. A lot of IT engineers can have this because of the fact sixth house is again conflicts, not just diseases, but conflicts and problems at workplaces. Mars can be the soldier. Hey, I want to solve this thing. But here Mars can really become a soldier. Like even if they, let's say, become actors with planet Mars in the third house, they'll be kind of like those Al Pacino and Robert De Niro type of actors. They'll be those Bruce Willis and Sylvester Stallone like actors. Somebody who just like in this ready to beat you, ready to take care of you, ready to be the hero. So a lot of great actors have this placement as well. And actually, I think Robert De Niro has this placement. If Jupiter controls your sixth house and Jupiter goes into the third house, what this shows is that your knowledge base, your intelligence comes into looking at details about conflicts, looking into solving conflicts with your intelligence, looking to solve conflicts with your spirituality, with your philosophy. But the problem here is that Jupiter gets stuck into details. Jupiter is a planet. See, here's the Jupiter planet. Jupiter likes to be broad about things. Jupiter says life is wonderful. But in this condition, Jupiter can be like, well, let's find the details as to why life is wonderful. Let's nitpick things. Is it really wonderful or not? So here Jupiter kind of gets stuck into looking at the details of things. Jupiter might get stuck into, being in an everyday real life and trying to figure out a philosophical way to understand those things. But because of the fact Jupiter is about expansion, Jupiter is about, knowledge and spirituality, Jupiter person here with this position will try to find a philosophy, spirituality, religion, their morals by being in the real world, by being the street smart guy. They have the intelligence of the street smart, great businessmen, great accountants. They know how to deal with people and conflicts through their intelligence. They're the people who can be really skinny and short, but they can walk into the mafia. They can walk into the most dangerous place. And through their speech, through their intelligence, through their, divine spiritual learnings, are able to make a deal with the most dangerous people, and they'll just come out of it. Because of the fact intelligence goes over strength and physical fighting. So if you have the intelligence to speak with your enemy, deal with the most dangerous people, you're the winner. Because then you don't need to be the most powerful, the tallest, and the biggest person. So here Jupiter becomes a great businessman, somebody who, makes great connection through business and becomes this great divine, teacher for the people who are unprivileged. He becomes a great, guru type figures for people who are suffering, who are in the sixth house. Let's say, and even with siblings here, They become these great teachers for you. Your siblings will teach you how to deal with conflicts. Your siblings will teach you how to deal with diseases. Let's say if Saturn controls the sixth house and Saturn goes into the third house, shows that you, first of all, have a lot of conflict with your siblings. You have this distant relationship with the siblings. And yet, but through your effort, you will be able to destroy all enemies, you will be able to destroy all diseases. And these are the people who should do business and will always do business, but their business will involve conflicts, like always dealing with some issues, like a lawyer, like a judge who has to judge certain conflicts and issues. Here, Saturn can actually make you do manual work, like you can be a construction worker. You can be, working with your hands. You can be a car mechanic because Saturn is iron and steel. Car is all about iron, steel, and, doing, working with metal machineries. So you can be working with a lot of machinery, routine, repetitive work with machineries. Because the fact sixth house is routine. Saturn represents routine. Saturn represents repetitive work, goes into the third house of hands. So a lot of mechanics you will see with this. Engineers are seen from this. I actually had it 2 weeks ago. Somebody whose Saturn was ruling the sixth house was in the third house. They were mechanical engineers. They graduated, but I think they were doing something else now, but they did their studies in mechanical engineering. But here Saturn really brings a lot of karmic backlog regarding siblings. Perhaps you did something with your siblings in the last life, where in this life you may not get such love from siblings. Your siblings may be stuck in conflicts. Your siblings may be drug addicts, may be in jail, and yet because of that, your relationship is very distant from them. Now, obviously, if there are other planets influencing this thing, then you will have a good balanced relationship, and you will have a lot of age difference with your siblings. If you have a younger sibling, they might have a 10-year difference, or you may not have younger siblings. If they're older siblings, there will be a long distance or long age gap in there. Okay, but these people will always end up doing their own business, because Saturn in the third house will not let anybody work under someone else. Even if you're digging ditches, you should have your own business of digging ditches to feel good in this life. So guys, this was my analysis of sixth lord in the third house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you want to know where your sixth lord is placed and where all the planetary placements are, including all the details on astrology, for that, check out the links here, including my books and astrology report. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.